Hi everyone, my name is Joseph, and today I want to talk about part 1 of chapter 1 of Digimon Seekers. So chapter 1 is called Eiji, Wolf of the Ninth Avenue. And so since this is the first chapter, all throughout this coming week, we'll be getting new additional parts for the full chapter 1. And with that being said, I have read part 1 2.5 times. The first time that I read it, I'm not going to lie, I was underwhelmed. I went in reading it with a lot of excitement. When I finished it, I was a little bit confused, and again, just a little bit underwhelmed. But after I read the first part, I went over to the YouTube channel because I am aware that Digimon Seekers has an official YouTube channel. And lo and behold, they posted a trailer for chapter 1 as a whole. So not a trailer for part 1, but chapter 1 for Wolf of the Ninth Avenue. And so I viewed it, and I'm not going to lie, my excitement did come back again. I was like, wow, if chapter 1's going to end up in this context, I can't wait to see how we get to that point. And after I watched that YouTube video, I went back and reread part 1. And I have to say, rereading it really did help me to maintain that excitement, because I think that they're doing a great job with world building. So before I get into that, let me just get the negatives out of the way right off the bat. So I was hoping that the translation would be a little bit better. For the most part, I will probably rate the translation 7 out of 10. There were a couple parts where, for example, there's one portion where I believe it's stating Eiji, but it says age. Let me quickly, I do have the web page open right here. Let me quickly see if I can find that portion. Oh no, this is taking too long now. Now it's just getting a little bit. Oh, here we go. So, towards the end, but this is not a game, not play. Age is a cracker. Hackers are people who have excellent computer related skills. I'm going to stop right here. So the first time I read that, I was like, age is a cracker. What? I'm not sure what's going on over here, but I believe that's just a typo. What's meant to be there is Eiji is a cracker. And there's also another typo of this nature as well with Tyrannomon's name. Towards the beginning part, I'm not going to look for that, but they accidentally misspelled his name. They forgot to include one N. But once you realize that there are some typos and your brain starts inputting the correct information, the story that the part 1 is trying to tell starts coming together. And I think I could start talking about the world building. So you guys probably noticed I mentioned that Eiji is a cracker. One might be going, whoa, what's up with the racism on this channel? So within the world of Digimon, cracker is actually a term. Those are hackers, essentially. And what are hackers? Those are individuals who have computer skills and they hack into systems. But the difference between a hacker and a cracker, at least what seems to be as defined in the world of Digimon Seekers, is that crackers are willing to go a little bit beyond the law. Well, bit of a paradox, right? Because usually when one is a hacker, they're really usually going above the law in the first place. But when it comes to crackers, they're more willing to go into the moral gray area. What this implies, we're not entirely sure yet, but I'm sure they're going to be discussing that. I'm looking forward to reading about that. So some textual evidence to suggest why I'm looking forward to the future about that specific world building is because currently in part 1, again, so here's some slight notes that I took. I'm really loving, here's another smart complaint. I do wish that they included acronyms like SNS. I did have to look that up on Google. SNS stands for Social Network Services. So there's a part where it states that Eiji has his phone and he's looking at he's utilizing his phone for SNS, and I was confused about that. So he's using his phone for Social Network Services. And I love how they discuss Grim. So capital G, capital R, lowercase I, and then capitalized M and M. And essentially what's being set up, it sounds like Grim is a global communicative tool that also seems to have its own infrastructure online. If anyone has ever played Digimon Cyber Story or Cyber Sleuth, it sounds like Eden. It sounds like they're kind of creating their own version of Eden, but integrating more with the economics of real world politics or socio-economical in real life connections. They state that the Digicoin is a cryptocurrency, and apparently this currency of Grim is quite big, comparable to real world nations. So that's really cool. I'm hoping we'll get more about that. I already discussed crackers. So what are crackers? Hackers who are willing to go further beyond into the realm of nuance, into the realm of gray. Either they might be doing something illegal or they might be doing something legal. But for what purpose? It's not really for themselves, it's for whoever it is that they're working for. And then I want to discuss, so Agumon. I'm actually really curious about Agumon because, or Black Agumon. It seems like they're kind of talking about him as if he's not a Digimon, but rather a program. And I do wish I actually did have that saved, but unfortunately, because I looked for that one portion, I lost it. Give me a quick second, everyone. I thank you for your patience. This one I should be, so the reason why, so I think from our perspective, the audience, we know that this is Black Agumon, or just Agumon in general. But the reason why, so this might just be an element of the translation, but Agumon is a cracker like Eiji who goes in and out of Grim. That's the name of the type of data traded in the network irregular worker neighborhood. Agumon Black, limited to intact living organisms. Recruitment contents and notes are added to the dinosaur-shaped silhouette. So it's kind of the way that it's discussed, it kind of seems as if Eiji is not aware who Agumon is specifically. He just knows that it's a dinosaur-shaped silhouette. But it's maybe Agumon is the avatar for the cracker the cracker partner for Agumon. Let me explain that. So right now we know that Eiji is a cracker and his partner, his digital partner is Logomon, right? So maybe this Black Agumon is the digital partner for whatever cracker that he's working with. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm thinking maybe that's what's being implied right here, because obviously Agumon is not a program, or rather, pardon me, Agumon is not. Well, you know what I just realized? Maybe in this iteration of the digital world, maybe the Digimon have more agency. I was thinking more from the perspective of the anime still, where excuse me, I just realized I didn't do a summary of the reading, and I should have done that from the get-go. I'll do that after this. Let me go back to my main point. Excuse me about that, everyone. I do thank you for your patience, though. So from my perspective, because I've seen a lot of the Digimon anime, for me, as much as I do love the Digimon, I would argue that they're very childlike in nature, and they need to have their digital partner in order to fully mature or to fully grow. And that's what I'm referring to. Maybe in this iteration, Agumon is able to do things on his own, kind of like Alphamon or Miegomon, but she was more under the control of a different program, right? But you guys know what I mean. They're utilizing their own agency. So pardon me, everyone. Again, thank you for your patience. Before I continue, well, I guess that's basically my analysis of part one. Would I recommend reading it? Yes, I would. Especially if one is already excited for Digimon Seekers. But before I continue giving my opinion, let me just give a quick summary. So part one opens up with 3 Tyrannomon chasing what I'm going to deduce that it's a Logomon, but we're not entirely sure yet. They're chasing some form of prey, and it seems like it ends with them doing a fight. They're fighting one another, and that's where that portion ends. After that, the story shifts over onto Eiji, who is next to a kabaku. I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. Excuse me. A kabaku style shop, and he sits on the 2nd floor. And again, I did mention this in my introductory element for Digimon Seekers. One of the parts that I'm really looking forward to is the fact that Eiji is an older protagonist. And I love how the light novel itself mentions this. While Eiji is sitting, looking at his phone, looking through Grim, utilizing Grim. He sees a group of high school students, and he thinks to himself, oh, those high school uniforms, I was also wearing that up until last year, right? So again, going back to that element of road building, just knowing that, so he has graduated from high school, and he's also, I would argue, not entirely sure what Eiji wants to do quite yet, because he starts thinking to himself, let me find it really quickly. I can find this. I recall where it's at. Eiji also wore a high school uniform like them. Let me start at the beginning. A group of several high school students on the same floor glanced at Eiji. Until last, Eiji also wore a high school uniform like them. While talking like that, I have no goals. And on the other hand, I don't have any worries about the future. So again, the translation is a little bit wonky. But what I believe is being stated right here is that Eiji is self-reflecting a little bit. And he is aware that he's purposeless at the moment. But he's not too concerned about that. Why? Because since he is purposeless, that also means, well, he has no worries for the future, right? Momentai. I'm hoping that this is an aspect that's going to keep growing about Eiji. I think it's fine for this specific time to take a small break, but obviously after a while, one does need some kind of goal, some kind of purpose to lead a fulfilling life. And when I say that, I don't mean it has to be something dramatic like going to university or curing some kind of disease or coming up with some kind of new technique to build structures. Right? It's just whatever purpose that you want to do for yourself. Be it writing short stories, be it starting up your own small little business, starting a family, whatever it may be. It's up to the individual. So far I am enjoying part 1 of Digimon Seekers. My plan is I'm not sure if the final part for chapter 1 will be released by Saturday or Sunday, but for sure once everything is out, I'll be posting another video about my overall thoughts. I'm not sure if I'll be doing this for each part. It will be dependent if I'm allowed to have some. Let me start over. I'm sorry. It'll be dependent if there's enough nuance for me to actually have a discussion on video, right? I'm not gonna lie. As I said when I first read the first part, I was feeling underwhelmed, and I was actually thinking, oh my gosh, what can I discuss in this video for the first part of Digimon Seekers? But then when I went back and reread it, that's when I realized, oh, there's plenty to talk about. There's the code start with 3 Tyrannomon chasing this mysterious individual. There's Eiji, the introduction of Eiji and what he's doing. Kind of like a daily slice of life a little bit. There was enough to discuss, and it's really exciting. And in fact, there's one more aspect I haven't discussed, and that's Logomon. Where is Logomon? And I'm actually really happy they haven't introduced him yet. And I'm not going to lie. I'm hoping Logomon won't be introduced in part 2 as well. I'm hoping he won't be introduced into part 3. So the reason being is because I do want to make sure that Eiji as an individual is fleshed out. But we know that there's not just Eiji. We know that Eiji is not just the only human character. There's different groups as well. So I want to make sure that each of these characters, they're able to become fleshed out. In the same way that when I think of Masaru and Toma and Yoshino from Digimon Seekers, they, in my head, they're each individuals. They have their own personalities, their own traits. I want the same thing to occur for these characters from Digimon Seekers. This is also true for the other seasons as well. When I think of Henry, Takato, Yamato / Matt, Taichi / Tai, Joe, I think of them as individuals. They're their own people, essentially, right? I'm not going to lie, the only one that's kind of not as strong in that regard is the characters from Digimon Frontier. But with that being said, again, when I think of JP, he's different from Takaya, who's different from Koji, who's different from Zoe, right? So I think that's one of the elements that really makes Digimon fun to engage with, is the characterization of the cast. So hopefully we continue that tradition with Digimon Seekers. So I'm hoping with part 2, we'll get a little bit more. Well, I'm not going to lie. We'll get more, not a little bit. We just get more, or better yet, a lot more about Eiji, and start getting into different human characters as well. And hopefully with part 3, we'll be introduced to Logomon. So if you guys have read Digimon Seekers, let me know what's your thoughts and opinions about it. Again, pardon me for not beginning with the summary. In the future, I'll make sure to begin with the summary first and then move on to my thoughts. I'm going to go ahead and dismiss accountability and blame it on my excitement. No, I'm just joking. Obviously, I'm still accountable for that, though, right? But thank you so much for listening. Have a prodigious day and take care. Until next time, Tamers. Hi again, everyone. So one element I forgot to mention was actually a term. So the reason why I forgot to mention this term is just because I myself am not entirely sure what's meant to be referenced. So there's 2 portions where this term is used, and the term I'm talking about is Macbushi, Macibuse. So let me go ahead and read where that's located within the actual light novel, and then we'll discuss what I discovered about it. So this is in reference to Tyrannomon and when they're chasing their unnamed prey, but when describing the 3 Tyrannomon, it's stated one hunts for its prey, one lures it in, and the other Macbushi hunting by a group based on high intelligence. And then later on, towards the bottom of that same portion, Tyrannomon, who played the role of Macbushi, screamed. So both times that term is mentioned, it's spelled a little bit differently. The second time it's spelled Macibuse. The first time it's spelled Machibushi. I'm going to assume that must be a conjugation of that word. Maybe it's plural. or it's meant to indicate some kind of possessiveness. I'm not entirely sure. The light research that I've done seems to suggest that Macbushi is a movie based on a Ronin, so a samurai-like figure. Ronin typically, to my understanding, they travel on their own, very isolated, very individualistic. But he's given a mission, and it's very broad what his mission is. He's not giving any specific instructions. All he's told is just that he needs to be part of a plan, and he'll know what to do once that action starts occurring. And that's all he's left off with. He ends up having to essentially double cross, even triple cross, according to the plot. I did read the plot summary on Wikipedia, but it's very sparse. It's not very long. And I did some additional research beyond that as well. And I did find another blog of an individual who talked about the movie. But essentially, what it seems to be based on is just, again, this Ronin who's given this mission. And he ends up discovering that the mission giver was some kind of bandit leader or something like that. It's a very convoluted story, but essentially the theme seems to be to do the correct action when action needs to be taken. I don't know what really to make of that, so that's why I didn't mention it in my main part of the video, but I do think it's an important element to mention. Obviously, for anyone who's from Japanese culture, or just Asian culture in general, they might know what this is a reference to, right? This might be one of those, Macbushi seems to be it's a Japanese film, a Japanese drama film directed by Hiroshi and Inagaki, and the fact that it came out during 1970, this might be a classic in that culture, right? Unfortunately, I'm not aware about that. So if anyone is aware about what this might be referencing to, do please let me know. Currently, the way that it's being used, I'm getting the impression that maybe one of the Tyrannomon is going to backstab their brothers and help whoever it is that they're chasing, but maybe I'm reading too much into it. Or again, maybe I'm not correct about this term that's being utilized. So pardon me, everyone. Again, I wanted to add this because I think it's an important part in terms of Japanese culture, I believe, but maybe not important in terms of the story itself, but it's an element of the story, hence why I wanted to mention it. Thanks again for your patience. I know I keep saying that, but I do really mean that. I do appreciate it. Take care, everyone. And since I already said it once, don't have yourself a prodigious day. Just have yourself a simple day. That's a reference to the anime Minmi's parents. They have a poster that says simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. And it's actually a real saying from a big you know what, really quickly since I'm here, let me look it up. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication, and it actually comes from Leonardo da Vinci. So nuggets of wisdom from Digimon. Thank you, Digimon, and thank you as well. Bye everyone, take care.